Dr. No is property of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. This is a fan-made movie review. Please support the official release. Hello YouTube, this is djufu doing my first movie review. Shocking, I know. But anyway, today we will be reviewing the first film in the James Bond series, Dr. No. The first one to star Sean Connery as well. And sorry there's no video, but I do not have a webcam right now, so I can't really do anything, so I guess I'll just have to get right into the review. Okay, so the film starts us off with these three supposed blind black guys who are on their way to some country club. Okay, so then the film introduces us to this guy who works for the British intelligence in Jamaica. Okay, so then the guy goes out to his car and the supposed three blind black guys turn around and shoot him. Then the guys put him in this car that comes around the corner, and they all get in and they drive away from the country club, and the guy's dead. Alright, so then we see this chick who is about to transmit data to some guy in London over a radio, and before she does that, she hears sound outside of her house, or whatever. And the guys that killed that British guy like 30 seconds before break into her house, and they kill her too. Okay, so then the guys that shot the girl break into her house and they take her files, and they take the one that obviously says Dr. No on it. Then the film cuts through somewhere in Britain, supposedly MI6, where James Bond works for, and they hear the radios on at the woman's place, and she's not answering, so they're getting all concerned. Oh, she's not answering, so basically they call him, and he's like, "This guy 007, check it out." Alright, from MI6 the film goes to this country club, I assume, and we see all these people playing poker, and this man whose face is not shown like beats this girl, and she's like, "I admire your luck."
I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
And so, he's a big poker player, he's winning everything, and this is where he gets like the message from MI6 that M needs him to come in so he can do a mission, of course, or why else would the guy be there? And along the way he starts flirting with this woman like he does with every woman he comes across, and it's just the typical Bond. And yes, he smoked. It's the 60s. Everybody smoked then. Okay, so this is the part where he gets briefed by M, and basically he's told about the situation in Jamaica and everything, and so this is also the part where he gets his famous Walker PPK, and pretty much after this part he leaves for Jamaica. And don't worry about the plot, I'll get more into that later on in the review. Alright, so after his plane lands in Jamaica, he gets into this cab that was supposedly brought there for him, even though he has no idea what the guy's talking about. So he goes with them, and some guy starts following, so they lose the guy that's following them, and then the cab guy tries to shoot James Bond, but of course he's easily defeated. So then Bond has him at gunpoint and, asks him who sent him to kill him, and before he does that, he asks James Bond for a cigarette, and Bond gives him one of his, and he inhales it, and we find out it's full of cyanide, and the guy kills himself. So then he drives to the hotel where he's staying, and he basically talks to the MI6 affiliate in Jamaica, and he gets a couple names to go check out, including this fisherman guy. Okay, so Bond then goes and talks to the fisherman guy, who at first he thinks he's bad, but it turns out that he's actually working for the CIA with James Bond's friend Felix Leiter. And they all start talking about like all the weird stuff that's been happening, like some people going missing and some weird things on some of the islands and all that. Okay, though, then sometime later, after like 1 or 2 gunfights and a couple car chases, they're not really important right now, but Bond goes to this professor guy to talk about some rocks he found at the girl's house, and there's just something strange about him and everything, and the guy doesn't really say much. He's kind of really just a minor character. This guy's really just kind of a douchebag, in my opinion. Then this guy goes to this like island and goes into this strange room where we hear this voice, but we don't see who's talking, and the voice that's talking is like very dark and sinister, and he's pissed off at this guy for not killing James Bond, and this guy like is so scary he's about to shit his pants, I guarantee you. And there's this little cage in the room, and the voice tells him to take the cage and plant what's in it in James Bond's room because that'll kill him, and there's a big fat poisonous spider in the cage. So then later during the night, Bond wakes up and finds the spider on him, and it almost bites him, but it crawls off him on his pillow, and Bond throws it onto the floor and basically smashes it 100 times with a hammer or something like that. So that plan really failed. Okay, so then after the spider attempt, Bond then at some point hooks up with this chick, and he starts sleeping with her and everything, but she's really a bad guy, and he gets her to talk and everything, and she tells him like where the base of operations for the main villain Dr. No is and where everything is. And then some point later on, Bond and the fisherman like at night go to the island, and they start searching for whatever they're looking for. Then once they get to the island, they start searching around, and then we are introduced to our first lady Bond girl, you might call her, and Honey Rider, I think. And they start getting to know each other, and they start talking, and they're attacked by some douchebag guys on a boat, and no one gets killed, and the guys just say hide because we'll come back later on. And they start getting to the island, and then when night falls, they're going through the swamp, and they're attacked by the supposed dragon that lives on the island, and the black fisherman guy totally gets killed by the flamethrower, and Bond and the girl get captured. And I will mention, the dragon is just a tank that spits fire. So then after Bond and the girl get captured, they're brought to this base, and they go through like this radioactive cleaner thing, because where they were was all radioactivity and everything. And then sometime later they go to this like dinner to meet the doctor behind everything, and that is where we're introduced to the villain Dr. No. And then he has this plan to like use this radioactive beam to destroy US like missiles and satellites as they get launched in space. And he also reveals that the organization he works for is Spectre. And that's kind of where the whole plot for the first 5 movies begins. And he's a pretty badass looking villain in my opinion. So then after Dr. No tells him the plans, he basically gets pissed off with James Bond and puts him and the girl in a jail cell pretty much. And Bond gets out because someone was stupid enough to put a 4-foot wide ventilation shaft in his room. Okay, so then after James Bond gets out of the ventilation shaft, he basically beats up a guy, takes his suit, and sneaks into the room where Dr. No is starting his experiment. And so there's this reactor that he has in there that he uses to power his beam to shoot down satellites and all that. And Dr. No's plan just about almost works until Bond sees the lever that turns on the reactor, and basically he turns it on past the danger zone, so basically the whole place goes into a meltdown. So then after Bond turned on the reactor, him and Dr. No kind of get into like a big fist fight, which it ends with Dr. No falling into the reactor and drowning. So then after Dr. No dies, James Bond runs and saves the girl, and then they get out of there on a boat, and basically the entire place blows up and they get away safely and the movie ends. Okay, now for my opinion of the movie. I have to give this movie a 8.7 out of 10 stars. It's a good movie, it's definitely a classic, and it's just a really good movie, and it deserves that. So go out and get your own DVD copy of Dr. No with frame-to-frame restoration and DTS digital sound, and the next movie review will be from Russia with Love, and until then, see ya.